Dear Farida, I want to start my brand or business, or I have started my brand and business, but my family and my friends, my close circle, they're not really supportive. Stop right there. Baby, I had to drink. Hold on. Clear my throat for this one. Hold on. Egg minute, egg minute. There is a speech from Les Brown, and he speaks on for some of the, I will go back because I'm assuming you guys know who Les Brown is. Some people do, some people don't. Les Brown is one of the top motivational speakers alongside Tony Robbins, but he was a lot more famous in like the early 90s and such, and he did more tapes and cassettes and stuff like that. So you can look up Les Brown. You've probably heard his voice in any motivational speech that is on YouTube, but definitely one of my favorite speakers of all time. Les Brown speaks about how that is one of the most painful things about being successful, is that when you're doing something for the people, essentially your success starts from a trauma or trouble. That's just sadly what it is to be human. You could say my family member had a sickness, and that's why I became a nurse, and that's why I want to heal the world. That's how it works with us as humans. So that's a beautiful thing about us. We're very empathic. We're very much reactive to doing good when something bad happens. So the ideology that you have about yourself and starting your brand usually come from, or starting a personal blog or business, come from something that's happened in your childhood or past, and something that you had to overcome, and you want to help someone else overcome it. That's the beautiful thing. The thing that Les Brown speaks about is the fact that he worked his butt off. He did so much because he wanted to help his family and to get out of poverty, help his mother, and a lot of the things he did. I think he lost his first wife after fighting with his own health with cancer and her health with cancer, and just life. Life just weighed them down, and he finally got to this certain level of success. And I think he got a divorce, and I think it was during the time, around the same time period, he got cancer. So it was just a dark period of his life in general. So you could imagine what it's like starting from nothing and growing something and giving it all your time and effort, all your extra time and effort. Let me make that a very clear point. It is very different when you have time to start a business and when you honestly do not. When you have time to devote to your dream and your goal and your brand and yourself, and you honestly don't. So you have to carve out this really raw, very beautiful time for yourself. And those minutes are actually more precious, than what your maybe everyday running around may seem to you, right? So these are like valuable gems of time, and you've spent them developing all these different aspects of business and self branding, right? So you're looking at your family members and your friends, and again, people just don't understand what you're doing. That's the first thing I've dealt with. My family is a family of entrepreneurs, so let me put that out there. Like, anyone who knows us, and even that was awkward for me, because certain things I was doing, they were like, well, you do this better, so why don't you just do that? So I got a lot of that, even if they didn't notice they were doing that to me. Not so much you have kids or you had a husband, or whether, like, my family they don't really do that, thank God I can say that. But I have had many women tell me that's an issue for them. They don't have that support from a spouse. My ex wasn't as supportive as I would love him to be. Of course, I feel that women are twice as more supportive running around their families and their spouses, and they're just socially conditioned to be so supportive to everyone else, and they don't take that time for themselves. I have a personality where, when it comes to me and what I'm doing, everyone else has to just back away. So this is a personality that I've developed throughout these years, and I'm not just in business, not to be rude, but within my own sanity and safety, being raised with all the different things I had dealt with and traumas and issues. Like, I had to cultivate something for myself within my mind and spaces in between all the hecticness of life. Okay, so you have a lot of things that are in your way right now. You have a lot of things that are issues when you're starting to want to be your own boss, or anything. It can be the tiniest thing. The tiniest thing you say you're going to do. You might already be baking cookies. You simply want to develop a flyer and sell those cookies a little bit out there because everyone's wanting them. That might be the simplest business, simple. But you said, no one's here in the kitchen to help you. Then you recruit someone that's in the kitchen and they come and they help you, but no one's here to take out the other part, like helping the kids or helping your mother do something, or just the little things in between that happen because you have taken those 2 or 3 hours a week. That's it. I've seen some women whose businesses literally will be thriving if they take 4 hours. And with that kind of stuff, with those kind of issues, I go back again to my coaching and telling the women about, developing their coaching blocks of time, their time management, and really putting their foot down. It hurts when you don't have support. Most people won't understand you till after the success comes. And with that said, you have to have a strong foundation of faith, spirituality, and self-love. You have to understand the bigger picture. Get your vision board out just for your business. Do not put your family and kids and different things on your vision board for that business. Because there are a lot of people who started a business who were very wealthy, and their kids would, maybe they didn't take the most time with their kids, or there's certain things they had to do to give their kids a certain life, and their kids just didn't understand that. And their kids are like, well, I want to deal with my parents at 18 years old, but by the time the kid is 25 years old, and they get their life together, and they're happy and excited that their parents gave them that foundation, then they get it. But you cannot wait for that if you're a mother. You cannot wait for your spouse necessarily to see what God put in you. And here's the example I used when my spouse, like my ex, was not so much, you can't do this or that. Like, he wasn't that personality. But some things were beyond him. He wasn't raised like I was raised. Things were so far beyond him that of what he could accomplish. So my aspirations weren't going to merge into his. I am from a phenomenal background of women. With the women alone in my family are phenomenal. Coming from literally a bloodline of slave women who were phenomenal, who raised doctors and lawyers and engineers. My grandparents had, I think, 4 5th grade educations. I don't play. I tell people this: what did your parents sacrifice for you to get where you are? What did they sacrifice? So even if they don't see your vision, their parents sacrificed something. Your grandmother, your grandfather probably want to see you succeed if they're with us on this earth, even in spirit. So you have to do for all the people around you, those girls that look like you, the people who are your age demographic. There are people who are literally suffering, who don't even have a slight vision of what you can do. And when you do what you are supposed to do on this earth, you will inspire more people than you will ever, ever, ever understand. There are people who have done one thing on the internet, a video years ago, and they will come to me and they're like, hey, that's amazing. That's what you're about to do.